pause the recording. So just admit. And Stella, let me see. I got you. Okay.
Okay.
We're on. All right.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. Okay, welcome everyone to Auntie Jean's African Cultural Market. I hope you're all well. Start off with a quick
nigger on a horse. I ain't never seen no nigger on a horse before.
You and your nigger, come out right now with your hands over your head.
I got no use for a nigger with sense.
Yes.
Nothing showing.
Look, I don't change color when they call me a colored man. They don't want to treat black the same as another man.
You hear me? It's a black screen.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that, people. Let me just get something else. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just get something else up. Can you see my screen now?
No. I can just see.
All right, do bear with me, people. Just getting used to these technical difficulties.
Are you on the lap? Okay. Are you on the laptop?
Yes, I am. Okay, I think you can see my screen now.
Can you see it now, Auntie Jean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just play one of these. Okay, so we recently had a game activity with our family, and we were doing a quiz, and so we thought we'd add some information about.
There's no outrunning 5G, and it's rolling.
Put some history in the quiz, and so we located this particular clip, and just watch it, listen, and note the
how relevant it
is today.
So everyone can see? Auntie Jean, you can see?
Yes, can see.
That's brilliant.
You make my point. That as long as a white man does it, it's all right. A black man is supposed to have no feelings. But when a black man strikes back, he's an extremist. He's supposed to sit passively and have no feelings, be nonviolent, and love his enemy. No matter what kind of attack, be it verbal or otherwise, he's supposed to take it. But if he stands up and in any way tries to defend himself, then he's an extremist. No, I think that the speaker who preceded me is getting exactly what he asked for. My reason for believing in extremism, intelligently directed extremism, extremism in defense of liberty, extremism in quest of justice, is because I firmly believe in my heart that the day that the black man takes an uncompromising step and realizes that he's within his rights, when his own freedom is being jeopardized to use any means necessary to bring about his freedom or put a halt to that injustice, I don't think he'll be by himself. I live in America where there are only 22 million blacks against probably 160 million whites. One of the reasons that I'm in no way reluctant or hesitant to do whatever is necessary to see that black people do something to protect themselves, I honestly believe that the day that they do, many whites will have more respect for them, and that there will be more whites on their side than are now on their side with these little wishy-washy love thy enemy approach that they've been using up to now. And if I'm wrong, then you are racialists. As I said earlier, in my conclusion, I'm a Muslim. I believe in the religion of Islam. I believe in Allah. I believe in Muhammad. I believe in all of the prophets. I believe in fasting, prayer, charity, and that which is incumbent upon a Muslim to fulfill in order to be a Muslim. In April, I was fortunate to make the Hajj to Mecca and went back again in September to try and carry out my religious functions and requirements. But at the same time that I believe in that religion, I have to point out I'm also an American Negro. And I live in a society whose social system is based upon the castration of the black man, whose political system is based on castration of the black man, and whose economy is based upon the castration of the black man. A society which in 1964 has more subtle, deceptive, deceitful methods to make the rest of the world think that it's cleaning up its house, while at the same time the same things are happening to us in 1964 that happened in 1954, 1924, and in 1984. They came up with what they call a civil rights bill in 1964, supposedly to solve our problem, and after the bill was signed, 3 civil rights workers were murdered in cold blood. And the FBI head, Hoover, admits that they know who did it. They've known ever since it happened, and they've done nothing about it. Civil rights bill down the drain. No matter how many bills pass, black people in that country, where I'm from, still our lives are not worth 2 cents. And the government has shown its inability, or either its unwillingness, to do whatever is necessary to protect life and property where the black American is concerned. So my contention is that whenever a people come to the conclusion that the government which they have supported proves itself unwilling or proves itself unable to protect our lives and protect our property because we have the wrong color skin. We are not human beings unless we ourselves band together and do whatever, however, whenever is necessary to see that our lives and our property is protected. And I doubt that any person in here would refuse to do the same thing were he in the same position, or I should say were he in the same condition.
Hi, greetings, sis.
Hi, greetings, Auntie Jean. I'm just trying to get in, and it's saying click here.
Yeah.
And then I haven't tried to sign in because I know when I did this last week, they blocked me. But it's got email. There's no code, in other words, with the email that I've got.
No, there's no email address. Sorry, there's no password. Other people are saying it's been asking for a password, and I deliberately took off the password because we had problems with the password last time. So
okay. So when I click, it brings me to a screen that asks for my email and password.
Mm-hmm.
So do I give my email password then? Because I thought it'd take me straight into the meeting. It looked like it was taking me straight into the meeting.
Just one step farther to see am I justified in this stand. And I say, I'm not speaking.
The thing via.
People say I talk about some weird stuff, some far.
So I sent him the link via email to see if he can get in that way.
I think what you're trying to ask is why am I so insistent upon
Can I just say something, Jean?
Blackness, that
Can I
black
say something?
power, that black pushing
Hello,
them
Jean, it's
to
Patsy.
identify. with black culture? I think that's what you're asking. I have no choice over it. In the first place, to me, we are the
So Pat, did you want to say something?
Hello?
Hello, did you want to say something?
most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people. What you're trying to ask is, why am I so insistent upon giving out to them that blackness, that black power, that black pushing them to identify with black culture? I think that's what you're asking. I have no choice over it. In the first place, to me, we are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people. I mean that in every sense, outside and inside. And to me, we have a culture that is surpassed by no other civilization, but we don't know anything about it. So again, I think I've said this before in this same interview, I think sometime before, my job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary. When I'm finished working, as tired as I am, and my work completely takes all my energy, unfortunately, but when there are kids who come backstage afterwards who want to talk or who are moved to the point, sometimes they're moved to tears, I want to know more about it, and they shake my hand, and they kiss me, and they want to talk about their problems. I find the time to do so as much as I can. I discourage breakfasts and speeches because I don't make speeches, but I will go out of my way, in spite of the fact that I'm too tired to do it, to talk to them at least for 5 minutes or so, to sock to them the same message that I just finished doing on stage, and perhaps to hear some of their grievances, or just to make them feel that they are not alone. Because when you have a few colored kids in a huge white college, any way you cut it, they are alienated and they feel it. So when I come, I feel a responsibility. They're so glad to see me because I represent something to them, and I can't give them enough. You know, they need me. They need me, and when I need it, I have to give. I curse myself afterwards for having no voice, usually, and being so exhausted that I can't do anything for myself. But when they need me for, and the most important thing is, they are our future. It's an investment as far as I am concerned. When I invest time in young people from colleges, I know that I'm going to get that bread back. You know, bread cast upon the water comes back. Because when I see them doing their thing one day and I'm too old to do anything but sit and look at them, I'm going to say, well, I was part of that. I never intend for my children to look at me and be ashamed and say, Mama, why didn't you do something? I will have done mine. And so every time I talk to them, it's an investment to me.
Okay, the wonderful Nina Simone, and just before that we played the clip from Malcolm X. And did you note the juxtaposition to the time we are in currently in what he was saying? That was one of his final addresses that he did, and he actually visited Oxford University for that. He came here for his last visit, his last place that he went to in the world before he was assassinated. How are you all doing? Can we get a little acknowledgement, a little wave? Hi there, greetings.
Greetings, Lisa. Greetings, Sister Lisa. Big up,
yes,
brother
I see the
Ekong.
thumbs up from our brother Ekong.
Looking forward to your presentation.
Yes, very much so. We do have to look after our health.
Give thanks,
Yes,
Sister Donna.
Sister Donna, I see you.
Auntie
Patricia.
Patricia, thank you.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Anybody
Yes.
else in the house? Can see your names but can't feel your emoji.
But we know you're there. We know you're there. So welcome to
Hello, just to say hi.
Hello, did you want to say something earlier?
No, I was just trying to say that that lady couldn't get in, and Auntie Jean sent me a link via text, and at first I couldn't press on the link, but then when I went back to the text, I was able to press on the link and get in that way, quite straightforward.
Okay.
Sorry, so I just wanted to no, because Auntie Jean sent me one via email, but it hadn't come through yet. But by the time I went back to the text, it was easy for me to just press on it and get through. So I just wanted to relay that to that lady, that maybe she could have that done.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
So before we proceed any further, we always start
Auntie Jean's African culture market with libation. So Auntie Jean, over to you.
Okay, all right, will do. I have some water here. You can get some water if you need to. Sorry, forgive me for my manners. I'm Auntie Jean of Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. As the lady said, I can't remember your name, I was having problems getting in, other people are getting in, and I've got both phones ringing because my WhatsApp is on another phone. So even though it's the same number, both phones are actually ringing from the same number. So I'm trying to send emails out as well as texts, and our first host is also having problems getting in. So hopefully after I've done the libation, it will clear the way and he'll be able to get in. So I'm adding two adult additionals to the libation. One is for the people who died in the Glenfield Tower, because this is the 3rd year anniversary of that. So I give libation and hope that those who are still here, that they find their way onto the ancestors. Ashe. And also Wednesday was the 80th year of the passing of Marcus Garvey, and his work will never be forgotten, and it's for us to pick up the mantle and to carry it on. So Marcus Garvey, the Right Honourable Marcus Garvey, I give thanks to you, your life and your perseverance. Ashe. I also give thanks to our ancestors who were brought over here forcibly into all the different countries, and that's made us be all over where we are with our different tongues because of the colonization. I give thanks for our ancestors' perseverance and their tenacity to keep going, and let's hope that they pass that tenacity on to us for us to keep on going. Ashe. Also, I'll give thanks to my ancestors and give thanks to your own ancestors, for whose heads and shoulders who we're actually standing on, and may their messages that they give us be as clear as this water. And when we ask for help and when we ask for guidance, we actually hear the messages that they give us, because sometimes the messages just don't come through our head. Sometimes the messages come through via the TV, somebody's quoting, you talk to a stranger on the street, or even something that you see, words written, is your messages. So may our minds be as open and as clear to hear. Ashe. And last but not least, I give thanks to the Most High, the creator of all things. Ashe. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hand back over the screen to Stella B and Nat Nye, and I'm gonna go back to the phone.
Okay, so we still haven't got Brother
Thank you,
Mandingo.
Auntie Jean.
Thank you so much, Auntie Jean, and thank you for welcoming in our ancestors. We have powers now, and what we want to do is we do have a couple of businesses to mention, a couple of events that are going to be coming up soon, and so we're going to be shouting out those things later on. So do bring a pen and a pad so that you can make notes of these, and we'll try and put some stuff in the chat. If any of you would like to share with the audience as well, anything that you've got coming up or anything you need help with, anything you want to bring to attention, just flag it up in the chat as well, or you know, you can jump on the screen. Just let us know you want to say something in the chat. This is Auntie G's African Cultural Market. We are in lockdown due to so many different reasons, but this is where we're at. So we're bringing it onto the screens of Zoom, and it's really good to see that you're all turning up every 2 weeks to connect with each other, to catch up, to get some powerful presentations, some more learning, and to find out where we can support some Black businesses, which is the theme of the current time. It's been a tough week, has it not? Yeah, it's been a very, very, very tough week, to say the least. But we're here. So I'm Stella B, and this is Nat Nye.
And we are the power couple, the resident hosts of Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. We're the ones who steer the ship through the rough seas into a journey of blissful knowledge shared. So we got great presentations due. I'm very much looking forward to Brother Mandingo when he's able to come on, and also Brother Ekong is a presentation. It is a note-taking, like every Auntie Jean's, it is a note-taking session that is about to proceed. But yeah, the Q&As should be also very interesting. We are definitely in serious times, but I believe that we are here for that reason. We're here to deal with it. We're here to make a change for it. So the task that may face us, I feel we are very worthy of dealing with it. The most powerful beings that ever existed on this planet are actually in our blood. It's in our veins. So we have to always remember that. A lot of what the system does is an illusion, and it's a trick on our mind to make us feel less powerful than we actually are, which is why they're able to do what they can do. But the moment we start to think differently and see ourselves for what we are, then I feel we will find different results. So it's just about getting to that place. But yeah, I think wondering, Brother Ekong, would you like to go? Because Brother Mandingo's not here yet, so I'm wondering if you're ready.
Might not be on. I think he's expecting to come on at 8 o'clock. So it's okay. What I will say, we do have some announcements. I'm just finding them for you. We were going to play you a couple of clips. We're going to play you we're going to play you a clip from the Daily Telegraph, a recent interview that Nat Nye and myself just did. So you can have a look at that and help spread it around, because it's a very racist newspaper, and the kind of reactions to the post have been obviously quite negative. So if you could share that around and give it a thumbs up, we're just going to find that for you. I remember being
the disclaimer is this: like, we went light. They were asking what could allies do, and we just told them from a very light perspective in terms of what they could do. And you know, it made me think that in terms of reactions, comments are off, so we don't really know what people were saying, but the dislike ratio is in favor of the dislike, and it's like, what is exactly there to dislike? So we feel that people are invested, so they may not be in control of the system, but they're invested in thinking a certain kind of way. And basically, if you're white working class, for example, and you're struggling in your life or whatnot, because of how the system, because of classism and such, they still have a vested interest in white supremacy, because in their heads it makes them feel good. So any threat to that is a problem for them. But yeah, please bear with me. I'm just looking for the video. Can't wait for us to get out of this lockdown situation, because this is not the one. Anybody else have that sort of similar feeling? Had enough of this Zoom stuff? One sec. Looking for the video. Yeah, whilst I'm looking for it, talk to me. Does anyone feel like they're ready for this lockdown to be over?
Well, in response to what?
General.
Give me a question.
Just general, to be able to interact again like normal human beings.
Using Zoom?
Yeah, so when it's over, we can actually properly have meet in person rather than doing the Zoom stuff.
Yeah, it's always good to interact with each other. Human beings thrive off physical touch. Human beings thrive off being around each other to feel each other's vibration, because I understand you and learn you through your body language. When you're talking to me, where do you look? You know what? There's a lot to learn through interaction, and Zoom is good as well. You know why? Because if no one in the world could see each other, but we could only hear each other, we wouldn't judge each other as the way we judge each other now. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
it's very good, I think, to listen to the vibration, the voice of people before we actually meet them in the flesh.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's like listening to someone's soul, because you don't know what I look. Some people that are listening right now, you might not know what I look like. So to be honest, who are you talking to? Who are you listening to right now? You're just listening to a vibration, and my vibration comes out through my voice box. You know, and you're gonna say to yourself whether I'm a truth teller, calm-natured person. You're gonna make your hypothesis. You know,
yes.
and I feel that's a good thing. So Zoom is good, and in person is better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the point.
And with that said, Brother Ekong, are you happy to go now?
Yeah, I'm happy to go now. I'm happy to go now, brother.
Yeah, because you just set the tone. Just let everyone feel the your energy of exactly what you were just talking about. So I think it's prime time now.
Do you need to be on the screen? Do you need to share your screen or?
No, I don't need to share my screen, but I can show my face.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, big up.
Love.
So, Brother Ekong, we know through Eat to Live, Not to Die. Many years ago, Brother Ekong used to bless us with clean and righteous, alkaline, yet also delicious food. Since then, Eat to Live, Not to Die has come into fruition. We give thanks because we feel that the likes of Brother Ekong are absolutely critical to our community, to us as individuals, but also us as a whole. As critical as, like you would say, is the vital organ is to the body. It's that serious. Life, literally. So when he says eat to live, not to die, he represents that. And we have found personally the products, for want of a better word, the healing medicine or whatnot, has made a significant difference to our lives. So we've got Ekong for life. Do you know what I mean? He's a brother to us. So very much looking forward to this presentation. And yeah, over to you, Brother Ekong.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the omnipotent one that made all of this happen, that brought us human beings into existence, that brought the universe into existence, that brought all our breaths of life into existence, our mothers, our fathers, their mothers and fathers, and all the trillions that came before them. Secondly, I would like to say thank you to Auntie Jean as well, because she has supported me and put me in the position to connect to my people for a very long time, probably over 5 years. And I really appreciate that. And there's not enough words that I could use to express my gratitude. So thank you. And also to Natna and Stella, you're a rock for the community, together. And I feel like a lot of people gain inspiration from seeing both of you together and doing what you're doing, because there's many of us that are not doing this thing together as male and female, and linked and showing that they're strong. There's not a lot of those examples. So I give thanks for your example to the community of togetherness, 100%. And also to all the people that are going to present today, all the people that have presented in the past, and all the people that will present in the future. Thank you for being bold enough to come and just say your piece, because many of us have a message, and sometimes in life, you might not respect the message, but I don't need to agree with what you teach to respect you. And I just want everybody to take that in fully, and believe in your heart, follow yourself. Whatever you feel is right to you. No one has a right to say you're wrong, Just do what you do and believe in yourself and keep spreading your message, okay? Someone is out there definitely listening. Now, my name is Ekong, and I am 29 years old. I'm going to be 30 this August. I'm a Leo, 20th of August, 1989. And I'm a regular man. I began this journey with a few ailments. I'm not going to say them because I believe that words are spells. So I got rid of them. I'm healed now. And I may not be fully healed, but I'm definitely seeking to do better in every aspect of my life, not just my health, every aspect. I want to be a better David tomorrow than the David today. But I started this journey because of fate, or if you want to call it, truth, wanting to help, a call to serve, of service. And the person that opened that part of my brain was Dr. Sabi. He was the reason why I started this journey. And the reason why I felt him so much is because of his discipline. I felt like he was a very, very disciplined man. And I took that to a high regard, and it made me feel inspired to want to also discipline myself, not to his level. I don't want to be Dr. Sabi, not at all, but I resonate with his truth. I'm a different kettle of fish. I'm a different human being. Every human being is none alike. There's none alike. Each person, the individuality of each person on this planet Earth is how he or she expresses themselves through their mind. And I am a singular, unique expression. But I respect the man. And he came to us in 1988 on Thursday, the 8th of September. And he won that case that day in the New York Supreme Court of Law. And no one spoke about the fact that he told them in the New York Supreme Court of Law that he could cure every disease known to man, or that diseases that people thought was incurable. And he was proving it. And he was proving it using their own diagnostic sheets. Do you understand? One hospital said, you have AIDS in January. The person went to Dr. Sebi in February, March, went back to a different hospital in April and got a test. And they said, you don't have AIDS anymore. If you listen to that information and you don't believe, and you still don't believe, and you still don't understand what that means, then, you know, I don't know what to say to you. But I took that information right there and I said, wow, he's got the cure. He knows what he's doing. This man knows what he is doing. So I'm following him because I'm here in the United Kingdom where I'm not supposed to be. They captured my family. They brought my family here against their own will, you know, and made us build their country. We fought in their wars, died by the millions. God knows how many died in the ocean and at war. So obviously there's going to be more women than men right now. So it's like, he's done all of this to me, and then I expect to go to his school and learn about me. How can a snake learn from an eagle? How can a polar bear learn from a gorilla? How? It just doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying that to say that they don't know anything, but when it gets to the root of our issues, psychologically, physically, socially, domestically, they are the reason why, they are part of the reasons why we're in that state. Because even though now we have the knowledge, but he gave us the wrong food. He told the woman, don't let the man in the house and we'll give you more. You know, he taught us the wrong information in the schools that we were sending our children to. Now we know we're going to start making changes, right? But that is what happened, and we have to accept the past so that we can move forward, all right? So now, Dr. Sebi showed me what to do. I've got the information, I'm learning the information, and I'm distributing the information via Eat to Live Not to Die, via word of mouth, here and there, outside Iceland and Brixton. I've been there, I've been everywhere. I'm trying to get the message out. I'm a messenger. That's all I am, a messenger. So I'm pushing the message through my website, and I'm pushing the message through my books that I've written, and also my posters and my tonics. I'm using the information to help others. People have said they are helped, so I'll continue to help. So now, what is the message? The message is, we as Black people need to first change the foundation of our lives. I repeat, we Black people, first and foremost, I'm saying that because I pledge allegiance to my race, period. If I was a Chinese man, I need to be speaking here for Chinese, but I'm not. I have been blessed to be an African man or Nubian man, okay? Or part of trillions of beings. And some may even say extraterrestrial, all right? So I pledge allegiance to my race, so I'm speaking for my race first, okay? We need to change the foundation of our lives. What is the foundation of our lives? The foundation of our lives is our food. If anyone beg to differ, please say your piece. But I feel personally that the foundation of my life, your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your auntie, your cousins, your family, is health. Why? Because without your health, you can't pay your rent. You can't go to work. You can't feed your children. You can't go outside and kick football with your son. You can't do things that you would like to do with your daughter. You won't be able to do 95% of the things that you love doing in this world, whether it's good or bad. Do you understand? So because I know that health is foundation, that's where I'm focusing. I don't know it all. I'm raising my hands right in the air to say, I don't know everything, but I know what I know. And if I am wrong, someone must say, you're wrong, bro. And then show me where I've gone wrong and allow me to grow. That's it. Okay? So the foundation is our health. Where do we need to start? What is it about? Where do we begin? What is it? What do we need to eat? What we need to consume is foods that are electrical. What are electric foods? Electric foods are alkaline foods. What are alkaline foods? They are electric foods. It has a pH. pH means the potential of hydrogen, meaning how much liquid, how much moisture is in this product, how much hydrogen is in here. The more, the better. The less, the not better. Okay? The least amount of pH is inside of something. Let's give an example, pH 3, pH 2. If you drink something that's pH 1, you're dead. And garlic is 3.3. So it's not going to compromise you immediately, but after taking garlic in pure form, after a couple of months, you're not going to feel so good. The soldiers in World War II used to douse their bullets in garlic juice. And they said that even if it skims, the skim means scrapes the face of someone or scrapes the flesh of someone, that garlic would have poisoned their blood and then they will soon die after, you know? So we have to understand that we need to be consuming things that are alkaline, all right? Now, what are alkaline foods? Where can these foods be found? Where can they be sourced? What are they? Where are they? Alkaline foods are all around us, okay? And yes, we have destroyed planet Earth, Tiamat, Gaia, for a very, very long time. We've been destroying her. But yet, look how resilient she is, still giving, even though all the things that we put her through is catastrophic. She's still giving us mangoes. People in Ghana, Gambia, Nigeria, they will report to you that mangoes are coming now in their country. Naturally, no one grew it. No one had to go to that mountain and say, mangoes grow now. It just grows there like that. The soursops, it just grows there like that. The plums, the blueberries, the blackberries, the peaches, the key limes. These things are just growing there like that. Some people plant them as well, but that's fine. You're allowed to plant foods that come from nature, but you should not plant or cultivate things that did not come from nature. Example, yams, cassava, sugarcane, peanuts. These things were not created by Mother Nature herself. These things was created by man, okay? Now, when you consume something that was created by man, do you think that man will offer you something that is greater than what Mother Nature would offer you? Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself that question. Can a human being give me something better than what Mother Nature herself can give to me? No, it's impossible. No way. She was here first. The planet was here first. Then you came. The ocean was here first. Then you came. Then I came. So then how can you think that you're better than where you came from? That's why I talk to men and I say, men, how can you be better than who you came from? You know, how can you say that you are going to do greater things than that which brought you into the world? That's like saying I'm going to do greater things than God. I'm going to do greater things than the omnipotent one, the Most High. No. Be the fruit on the tree. Don't be ignorant. Don't be greedy. Don't be ungrateful and say you want to be the tree. You know? Be the fruit on the tree. And say to yourself, I want to be part of this tree. And I want to ripen. You know? So we have to understand, brothers and sisters, that alkaline foods are the foods that we need to be eating the most. And when we don't eat these foods and we eat man's foods, and a lot of people will say that, you know, Africans have been thriving on yams and cassavas and all these things for a very long time. Please go and look at the health of the Africans. The Africans are not healthy. the health of Africa is declining every day. The health of Africans is not going up. 83% of African men, their stomachs look like they are 6.5 months pregnant. Go and check it out. Fly there and check it out. They say that then the stomach is like that. You're eating well, you're eating good, that you're living a good life. No, this just means that there is a mucus buildup inside of your colon and your stomach. And your stomach has expanded to 5 times the original size, because the stomach can expand. If the legs can expand, and the arms can expand, and the face can expand, and I guess the stomach can also expand. And when in that expansion, and inside of that stomach is your cassava, your meat, your dairy, everything that you've been eating that contains starch, meat, and dairy, you're going to be suffering from things like aneurysms. You're going to be suffering from things like acid reflux. You're going to have pains in your stomach, in your abdomen. You're going to be suffering from backaches, diabetes, pancreas problems, liver problems, walking problems, back problems, gout, problems with your breathing. You're going to go through problems. And many Africans right now are going through many problems. And the only reason why African people are living for so long and maybe looking like they're not going through anything is because of that sun. They need to be grateful and thankful every day, every morning. They need to give thanks and praise to the sun and to the omnipotent one that created the sun. Because that sun is literally keeping their blood from making that mucus harden. Let me make you understand. The blood is like water. When you are in a cold environment, yes, when it's very cold, water can turn into ice. Now, imagine you're in the UK now. You're in the UK, your blood is in the UK, your body's in the UK, and it's very cold. And now your blood is turning to ice. It's thickening, causing what? High blood pressure, inflammation. This is going to cause pain in different areas of your body. That's the reason why people get sick in the winter time, because the blood is cold, and the blood is the things that are inside of your blood, like the dairy and the milk and the starch. Remember, starch is used in Jamaica to harden clothes. Remember, starch is used to whiten and harden clothes. So the starch is now in your blood and it's hardening in your arteries. Remember, your veins. Your veins are as thin as a strand of hair. So this blood has to pass through a vein that is as thin as a strand of hair. And you have mucus floating in there. So what happens when a pipe is under pressure? It bursts. You know what that's called? It's called a brain aneurysm or a muscle aneurysm or any type of aneurysm anywhere. It's just when your capillary or your vein bursts because of high blood pressure. All of that fish, meat, dairy, chocolates, sweets, God knows what, for 40 years, 60 years, 20 years, 14 years, 80 years, it doesn't matter. But the people in Africa now, what happens to water or what happens to ice in the heat? The molecules become more free and it's moving and everything's moving around and it's flowing. It's melted the blood. The blood is warm. So the substances that is inside of the blood as well is also melted and flowing and moving freely through the body. So they don't really feel the full capacity of the destruction that they have done to themselves. So now they feel like they're strong. They're still getting diseases, but they may still feel strong because the sun is powerful. Don't underestimate the sun. You can't fathom the power of the sun. It's too mighty. So the sun is keeping them alive, very alive. And that's why when the sun comes out here in the United Kingdom where we are, we're happy. We're out there. We want to do things. We want to go places. We want to absorb those rays. We want to sit there in the sun and, absorb it all because we know that it makes us healthy. It makes us feel good. So now, in the places on the planet Earth where the sun is very prevalent, which is where? The equator. In the areas of the equator, these are the places where we should go and shop, or where we should even go and live to have the right environment and the right foods. The equator has some of the most powerful herbs in the whole wide world. Why is that? Why is it that the herbs inside of these parts of the world, the equator, why is it that the herbs are so powerful there? Because that part of the planet Earth gets the most sunlight. Constant, as high as that heat is, as much as the sun can burn, nothing is ever gonna get the sun to burn less. It's gonna increase. They say that we're in the sun cycle. I don't know if anybody is aware of that. They say right now we're in the sun cycle, and the sun is getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And the things that can survive this heat are supposed to be here. And those are the things that you're supposed to eat as well. And the things that don't survive that heat are not supposed to be here. That is what is said. Now, when you eat a mango from somewhere that is in the equator, when you have a herb, when you take in a herb, let's say kankansa or kokomeka or kalawala or blue vervain or hudia or iboga, when you eat these plants, you feel powerful because these plants are very close or in the equator. They're thriving. They don't, you see a plant, when a plant is in the forest, just like you and me, we might go and find some shade, isn't it? But a plant can't do that. A plant can't say, oh, it's too hot, I need to go and find some shade so the sun won't, it's just too much for me right now. Nah, the plant will take that. And all that, imagine all of that energy going into that plant 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, or however long the sun is out for. That plant is going to be powerful. The people that are out in the sun for so long, you see how dark they are. They're jet black. And we know that the things in life that are natural contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But the things that we need to eat the most in this alkaline kingdom are the things that contain iron. These are the things that we need to consume the most. And the things that contain a lot of iron contains a lot of electricity. And they are also very, very, very black. The things that are black that contains a lot of carbon, i.e. iron as well, are things such as wild rice, are things such as the blogo banana or the frog banana. There are things such as the kokomeka, the kalawala, the yellow dock, the blue vervain, the contribo, the hombre grande, also known as, it's not coming to me, but hombre grande is very high in iron. Also cheney root. These are products, sarsaparilla, elderberry. These are products that contain a lot of iron. And these are roots and herbs that we are supposed to boil and drink. Our iron predominantly is going to come from things that we prepare in tea form. Why? Because that's supposed to be our diet. That is the way we're supposed to eat. We were people whose diet was 70% liquid and 30% solid. We knew that. This is lost now. We don't know that anymore. And we always drank our iron, always drank our herbs, because we knew that the herbs healed us. We knew that the herbs was for healing. No one had to teach us that. It was innate in us. Now, if we want to learn, we want to go to books. If you want to learn how to worship God, read a book. If you want to learn how to love someone, go and read a book. If you want to learn how to know what to eat, you have to read a book. If you want to learn about how to be a nice person, you have to read a book. Anything that they say that we don't know, they always tell us, go and read a book. Anything that you're trying to find out in this world, we want to go and read a book. But I think it's inside of us, you know. I'm not saying books are bad. Please don't ever get me wrong. I'm not saying that books are bad. But there are things that are innate in you. There are things that are innate in me. But again, I feel that food, the foundation of our lives, is one of the things that suppresses those innate feelings, those innate emotions, those innate thoughts and memories in our DNA. You know? And I just want to say, if we as a people want to understand more about alkaline foods and be more healthy than we are, we need to become a bit more disciplined, brothers and sisters. We do. We have to be a bit more disciplined in this area, especially because sometimes I look at my brothers and sisters and I say to myself, wow, my son or my daughter could grow up and marry your son, marry your daughter, and we could be family, even though we are family. But that's how I think, you know. And because of that, I want everyone to thrive. I want everyone to be healthy. I know that as a man, I don't want a sick wife. No woman would see 10 men and pick the one that's in the worst health. No man will see 10 women and pick the woman who's in the worst health. No, we want to be with healthy individuals, healthy minds, healthy bodies, healthy thoughts, you know? And again, I feel like food is the foundation. Alkaline foods is the foundation. And I don't really want to go too deep into it. I just feel that by going onto my website, 67% of my book is on my first page. As soon as you go to eattolivenottoDie.com, on the first page that shows up, you're going to see, scroll down and you're going to see a bunch of information. Let's start there. For the people that don't know, but there are many people that know. So all I'm here to say is let's look into that more, understand it more, and discipline ourselves more, brothers and sisters.
Okay, so sorry, like we have to try to put your email in, your website into the chat while you were speaking.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. Round of applause, everyone.
Thank you.
Brother Ekong.
Thank you.
That was absolutely exceptional. Really, really enjoyed that.
We want to open it up for questions.
Yes.
Any Q&A.
I'm sure people have got some questions. Donna, I see your hand up. Let's unmute you there.
No, I was just...
Go ahead, Donna.
Sorry, I was just clapping.
Oh, right. Okay, what about Lyndon Whistle? I saw your hands come up as well.
Or was you clapping as well?
My question is, you mentioned about garlic, yeah? That they're using it as a poison, yeah? I personally promote garlic a lot, yeah? And what I'm doing. So my question is, should we be still eating garlic or not? Or what should we do now? Because I talk about ginger, garlic for the immune system to break down immune system. This is what I promote all the time. So my question is, if you know, can you guide me, please?
Okay, so basically, the thing about garlic is that we didn't when the Egyptians made the garlic, they didn't create the garlic for consumption. They used the garlic on the surface of the skin so that it wouldn't do anything too major to the blood. But it was never something that we're supposed to eat. And also, what the problem with garlic is that it has an oxide known as allele inside of it. And this oxide eats through your pipes. So let's say, for example, your sink was blocked and you put some Mr. Muscle in there. Mr. Muscle is just an analogy for the garlic. You put the Mr. Muscle in there, and the Mr. Muscle works. It ate through all of the debris inside of your pipes. The pipes is an analogy for your veins. Now, alongside of eating out the garbage from the pipes, the Mr. Muscle also started to eat the pipes as well. Okay, so that's what garlic does. Garlic will eat through the cholesterol, and people will report, my cholesterol's gone down, I've seen changes. And they're right, they have seen changes. But what they don't see is that it also eats the cells as well. So eat through the cell walls, our capillaries, our arteries, also known as veins. So what I promote for people to use instead of garlic is African ginger, the smallest ginger you can possibly find. And when you juice African ginger, you'll find that the African ginger is much thicker than when you juice it than the normal gingers that they sell nowadays. So African ginger is a very, very, very good substance to use in replacement for garlic. And what I like to do to strengthen it further is to add key limes. And if you don't have key limes to strengthen it further, you can add other herbs such as the sarsaparilla, which has the highest form of iron. So when you include herbs with your garlic, your ginger, then you increase the power. You increase the power of the ginger itself. That's the reason why most people mix bladderwrack with the sea moss. Together, they're very powerful. Separate, they do different things, but together they're very powerful. So it's okay to mix other things with the ginger just to give the ginger a much more heavier effect, greater effect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Ekong.
Any other questions?
So are you saying that we should never use ginger, or is it in moderation? Because ginger can be used in other ways, in terms of...
And it
you mean garlic?
Sorry, garlic, sorry.
I like, the way I like to see it is, if you knew something was poisonous, or you knew something was not good for you, would you want to put it into your food in moderation? Do you get what I mean?
Okay. I understand.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's
Any other questions? A lot of us are attached to certain things because we've been using it for a long time.
Yeah.
And that is okay, I know that it's not gonna be, everyone's not gonna change in a day. Everybody may not change in a week, in a month, in a year, but the journey is a process. Okay, the journey is a process, and I'm not asking anybody to just go cold turkey. Some people can go cold turkey on things, and some people can't go cold turkey on things. But I would say this: the only thing worse than changing is staying the same.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Can you tell, what about spinach?
Spinach. In regards to spinach, when we go into a supermarket or we go into any shop and we ask the man for spinach. One time I went into the shop and I asked the man there, "Can I have some spinach, please?" And he pointed and said, "There's a bunch of spinach over there." And when I went over there, I saw a bag that said spinach. And I wanted to know why there were different ones. So, for example, I know that dandelion roots is dandelion leaves is a spinach. I know that callaloo is a form of spinach. I know that watercress is a form of spinach. I know that wild arugula is also a form of spinach. I know that turnip greens is also a form of spinach. So when people say to me, "What type of spinach do I eat?" I want you to give me the name. I don't want you to just tell me this is spinach, because every green on this earth has a name. So this thing that we call spinach, what is it? What is it? What is it? We want to know. You can't give me a bag of assorted fruits and say, here's a bunch of fruits, eat that. I'm going to say, which assorted fruits are there? There are many fruits in the world. Which ones are they? So that's why I ask people, if you want to eat things that are green and leafy, go to these greens that have names, the callaloo, the things that I just named just now. All of those things you should eat instead of what they call in their supermarkets spinach.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
I think.
So, Brother Ekong, could you go through some of the products that you create and
okay. So the first product that I create, I'll even do even better and show them to you.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, while while we wait, just going to say, just before Ekong comes back, we're going to be doing just a couple of announcements and show some videos while we get Brother Mandingo ready to do his presentation. So yeah, when Ekong's finished, we'll move on to just doing some special announcements, some events that are coming up. And
okay. So, I'm going to let you know what the prices are as well, and they're all available on my website. Okay. So the first product I have here is the iron fluorine loose leaf tea. Now, I used to put this product on my website in liquid form, but I stopped doing that because I felt like there was a saying back in the day, give a man a fish, he will always come to you, but teach a man a fish, he will always do for self. So I wanted people to start learning how to prepare tea, how to do it themselves. And this process in making this tea, it's not just for this tea, it's for every tea on this earth. At the end of the day, what is the principle of making a tea? Hot water and the herbs. That is it. That is the fundamental purposes of this thing. Now, some people put cold water into the herbs and put it in a glass jar, and they let that sit for months on end, which is also perfect. In life, there are many different roads that lead to the same place. So I want people to learn how to make this tea. This is the herbs that are in here, the herbs that are at the back, the ingredients. I've put in there sarsaparilla, elderberry, blue vervain, yellow dock burdock, cascara sagrada, and kalawala. Okay, and a few extra herbs in here as well, because everybody has to have, their trademark. So this is very powerful. All right, very powerful. You boil this in water, you drink it like a tea. There's 32 servings, and this costs £30, $29.99. Okay, this is for increasing energy. All right, I'm gonna give you an excerpt of just the first part of it. There's another part here that I won't read, but I'm gonna read the first part. It says that iron is the mineral that conveys oxygen to the brain. It contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, the CHO chain. When you are deficient in iron, you are susceptible to a whole bunch of diseases. Iron is the spark plug of the human body, and it is the only mineral on the earth that is magnetic. Being that iron is magnetic, it has the tendency to pull other minerals to it. It pulls magnesium, zinc, gold, calcium, phosphorus, etc. So when you take iron, you are taking all other minerals at a proportionate balance. Iron also dissolves inflammation, meaning that it can help to shrink tumors. So iron is very important, brothers and sisters, for people that are suffering from diabetes, sickle cell anemia, hypoglycemia, thalassemia, anxiety, can't sleep, bad back, aches in the body, skin conditions, Iron is perfect. It's good for the stomach, digestive tract. Iron is what we need to increase our carbon. I don't believe, I'm sorry for the people that believe in it, but I don't believe in this word melanin. I believe that melanin is a European word that they made up in replacement of what I believe, or what I know to be, sorry, I don't believe, what I know to be is carbon. Carbon is the reason for our color, carbon, okay? Carbon is something that us black people, as I said in the beginning, need the most on the planet. Not just us. Everything in the world has carbon that is alive, even a rock outside on the floor. But who has the most carbon? Me and you, black people. The electric eel in Brazil, wild rice, fonio, the herbs that I mentioned that's on. So there's things that have a high amount of carbon. And the things that are high in carbon, what else is made from carbon? The sun is made from carbon. That's why it's black. The sun is not orange or yellow or what we think it is. The sun is jet black. And that's carbon. And that's electricity. That heat is actually electricity. It's not fire. All right? So we need a lot of carbon, brothers and sisters. And that's what's in the iron. Our book with the knowledge, this is the knowledge, this is the wisdom. This is the knowledge and this is the wisdom. So the wisdom is the foods that you need to eat. This is a visual representation of Dr. Sebi's nutritional guide. I am a graphics designer by trade. So I designed this book myself. I labeled and packaged everything that you see here today. I wrote this book. I did everything, okay? Because I felt like that's what I needed to do for my community and the people outside of my community also. So this will tell you everything that you need to know in regards of what you need to put into your mouth in picture form. And underneath each herb or fruit, I have also put a little description in regards to what that does for you. So let's say, for example, we're looking at that one at the top there. That one's called allspice. That's a herb, that's a spice. And that would be good if you boil that in some water. That's good for diabetes. It's good for a cold. It's good for your hair. It's good for circulation. It's good for aches and pains. It's good for your digestion system. It's good for arthritis and if you've got the flu. So that information is written underneath that. And every single herb and fruit and vegetable in here has that information. Now, the knowledge is the reason why we shouldn't have things like, let me say a list of them. You're gonna be amazed. Let me give you a list of foods that we should not eat at all. These are the things that we shouldn't be eating, okay? These things are acidic hybrid foods. They are all potatoes except the red rose potato. We shouldn't use aloe vera, asparagus, wheat, barley, beetroot, foxglove, echinacea, comfrey, coffee, cauliflower, cassava, Brussels sprouts, all yams except wild yam, golden seal, grapefruit, iceberg lettuce, jackfruit, eggplant, turnips, peppermint, peanuts, paprika, palm oil, nutmeg, moringa, Valencia oranges, St. John's wort, rose hips, spearmints, ackee, sugarcane, turmeric, or licorice stick. Those are things that we should not be consuming. They are man-made, they are acidic, they are not indigenous to this planet Earth, meaning they were added to creation. They were not part of creation like us. So we should not be putting those things into our mouth. Again, it's not going to start today. It may not start next week, but those things eventually should never enter your body. Also, what I have here is a liquid product. This is probably the only there's two liquid products that I do. There's this one called Powers. Now, Powers is basically iron in a very concentrated form. Okay, that's basically what it is, but it has many more added products in here. And one of the highest amount is the ginger and the lime. Now, the reason why I made Powers is because there's many people that want to be able to just take a little sip of something and get instant energy. And it's possible to do that. So that's why I created Powers. So 25 ml of this and 500 ml of water is a very good amount of the iron tea that I used to do. And once you've made that mixture, you take 2 shots per day. 1 shot in the morning, 1 shot in the night. All right. When you create your 500 ml, you make that by adding 25 ml of this to 500 ml of water. And then you take your shots of that. And that there is also good for the brain, the cognitive resonance of the brain. It's good for energy. It's good for people that are suffering from erectile dysfunction. And CMOS is also good for erectile dysfunction. Damiana is also good for erectile dysfunction as well. So Powers. And another one is called Skin for Life. So people that are having any skin problems, any problems growing their hair as well, this is a very good product. It's very good. But again, anything that you put on your skin goes into your bloodstream within 20 seconds. Now, this product is good, but it's superficial if you're not making sure that you're trying your best to adhere to the diet as well. Because you don't want to take 4 steps forward and 5 steps backwards. That means you haven't progressed. But 4 steps forward and 3 steps backwards is definitely progression. So you want to make sure that you're helping yourself to help yourself. All right. In regards to fasting, we also have a plan called the Universal Fasting Plan. Okay. Now, it's something that everybody can use, but at the same time, it's something that everybody could use. And it's not just, this is it here. So each roll, I don't know if you can see that here, each roll is basically a different type of fast you can do. So the first one is the juice and smoothie fast. And it breaks down everything that you're supposed to do in those days, all right? For your breakfast, your lunch, what you will drink, and what you do before bed. And there's another one you could do, which is a raw fast, which we also document the steps and the processes of that. And then we have some tips here, alkaline tips for your fast. And then we also have the breakfast fast, the breaking your fast, We have a list of information here on what you can eat to break your fast, all right? So it's the water fast, juice fast, raw fast, alkaline tips, and tips on breaking your fast. That's the fasting plan. And that there's on our website for £20. We also have a nutritional guide. So these are suggestions. This is the nutritional guide. So it has suggestions on what you would eat from Monday to Sunday. So we've basically wrote down everything that you should go and get in regards to eating from Monday all the way to Sunday. All right, we broke it all down. So that's a nutrition plan. If you're worried about what to eat beginning your journey, so that's the reason why we've made that. All right. Our last product is our children's alphabet and number book. All right, because we need to understand that our children are our legacy and our future is in our children. If I didn't have any children, I would have cut off my bloodline from the earth. And that's very scary to me. I'm very scared to even say that. Like, once I go, there are no more Ekongs on earth. Like, I didn't spread no seed. I didn't plant no seed before I left this beautiful garden. No. So when you have your children, which is very important, we need to now teach those children. And we must teach those children like this in regards to their alphabet and numbers. You get me? So A is for avocado, B for baby bananas, C for cherries, D for dates. So this is the way that we need to teach our children. When they're learning their alphabet, they're learning all the foods are alkaline. Every single fruit that I mentioned inside of this book, and it even has their numbers as well. 24 tomatillos, 23 pumpkins, you know, all the things on there are alkaline. So as they are learning their alphabet, and as they are also learning their numbers, they're also learning the alkaline foods and what they help to do, because underneath each alkaline food, it has a little description in which what it does for you. So habaneros, good for your heart, skin, and blood. You know, so it's very helpful. These things are the things that we need to create for our people. And ironically, there's going to be people that are not our people that will purchase this book. I will teach their children that. So in helping ourselves, by default, we're helping others. All right? And that's it, brothers and sisters.
And that was so brilliant. I just wanted to quickly mention the food that you actually cook for alkaline meals that you actually cook and make.
Oh yes. Every Saturday, we have a pickup service, and the Instagram name, we have a website and an Instagram name. The Instagram name is LDN Shrooms. So LDN Shrooms, and the name of the website is called alcatorium.com. So every Saturday from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we have a pickup service. So you go onto the website, you purchase your meal, and you call us 30 minutes before you come and collect your meal, and we meet you at the specified pickup location, and we give you your meal. So we've been doing that now for about 4 or 5 weeks. We don't do it on Fridays, on the weekdays anymore, due to us being inside of a congestion charge zone. So we only do it on Saturdays. But that is a service that we also offer every Saturday.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
excellent.
There's a few questions that want to power to you.
Yeah.
Like a snap question, snap answer type thing.
Yeah.
Dawn asked, how much is the book?
Which one? I showed 3 books.
Okay, all 3 of them then.
Okay, so the big book, this one here, is £20. Okay. I have an e-version, which is £14. The children's alphabet book is $14.99. And the small book is £10, but it's on sale right now online for £7.
Okay, excellent. That children's book, I imagine, will go very, very fast.
Yes, and the website is, I did put it in there, it's www.eattolivenottoDie.com. So you can find all of those things to purchase for yourself on there.
Lyndon asked earlier, the foods we are not supposed to eat, do they have nutritional value?
The foods that we're not supposed to eat, they will not have any nutritional value. Meaning, if something takes up, because what unnatural foods does is that it robs you of your oxygen. It robs you of your blood, okay? That's the reason why when your brain is dry, when your brain is not getting oxygen, you're dead. So these foods rob your brain of oxygen. So how can they then provide nutrition? Just like the person that asked about the garlic. People will say, yes, garlic lowered my blood pressure, but they haven't seen the dramatical effects that it's had, the drastic effects that it's had in the long run, because they're only looking at the surface surface feeling, but internal, deep, they're not going to see what the garlic is doing. So garlic, using garlic for 1 day is not going to hurt you. Using garlic every day for 1 week, you may not feel nothing. But using garlic every single day for, let's say, a month or 2 months, you're going to feel definitely effect. But the reason why garlic doesn't affect people in the way which the soldiers in World War II was talking about is because we don't juice our garlic. We put it in food. If you juiced garlic, right, and you took that juice and you put it into an open wound, I don't even feel good saying that because I don't want anyone to even try that. If you took garlic juice, you put garlic into a juicer, and you put that into an open wound, you're going hospital. Let's put it like that. Okay, you're going to the hospital. So that is the high concentration of garlic. When you eat the garlic, your saliva breaks down some of the toxins, your throat breaks down some of the toxins, your hydrochloric acid in your stomach breaks down anything that's bad in there as well. So it will manage to go through different areas of your body, but the body will capture a lot of the harmful stuff. But when you keep on consistently trying your best to give the body what it's not supposed to have, the body's one day going to say, I can't defend you no more, I'm giving up. You're doing too much, you know? So that's what it is.
Okay, great. Okay. Next question. Have you got anything to clear facial hair on women?
Your hormones are imbalanced. So we're looking at, when it comes to when you're healing, we have to understand that we have to look at why it's happening. That is the most important thing. Why is the roof leaking? What we do, when I say we, I mean, you know, Western world, westernized, I'm in London. What we do in the hospitals, we put the bucket on the floor so that the water will drip from the roof into the bucket. This is not what Africa does. In Africa, we go to the roof and we fix the roof. We work hard, you know, we're disciplined. We'll go get the ladder. We don't have a ladder, we make a ladder. You know, we don't have a hammer, we make a hammer. If we don't have a nail, I'll make a nail. We do it. We do, you know? So we go up there and we fix the roof, all right? But people don't want to fix the roof. They want something quick. What herb should I take for my headache? What herb should I take for this? Healing is a process. There's no quick fix. Mother Nature would never let you get away with it. When you've been eating garbage for 24 years, 30 years, 60 years, you need to now pay reverence to Mother Nature, pay tax. And that tax that you pay to Mother Nature is that healing process. You see, the road you took to bad health will not be as easy as the road to good health. Do you get me? The road to bad health is an easy thing. Anyone can say, order a pizza, order a Chinese, please. I'm feeling lazy today.
Right.
You know, let's go to the chicken shop, man. Let's go. But that journey that you've probably done that 10 years, 5 years, 24 years, however many years, that was an easy journey. You enjoyed it. You know, you enjoyed yourself. You ate what you want, blah, blah, blah. But now it's time to heal now. It's time to heal now. You know, fasting, you know, you got to fast, you got to abstain now, you know, and if you don't do it, you will suffer the consequences and repercussions. And sometimes it's death, sometimes a kidney's removed, sometimes it's lack of energy, sometimes it's facial hair, sometimes it's, brother, sister, it's anything could happen to you, all right? So to remove the facial hair, you need to balance your hormones. So to do that, you need iodine. Iodine comes from the ocean. Dr. Delbert Blair is another one of my teachers. Give thanks for him as well. Dr. Delbert Blair taught me about the importance of iodine. Even though Dr. Sabi also taught me, Dr. Delbert Blair also taught me as well. So he says that if you're a woman and you want to balance your hormones, or you want to balance your endocrine system, meaning your pituitary gland, your hypothalamus gland, your pineal gland, your thyroid gland, your parathyroid gland, your adrenal glands, your prostate gland, all the glands inside of man and inside of woman, you need CMOS, you need bladderwrack, you need dulse, you need wakame, you need sea vegetables to balance your endocrine system. That is what all the glands fall under in science. Science calls it the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the system that supports every gland in your body. So when you start coming off the meats and you start coming off the processed food and you start coming off hybrid foods and you come off all these foods that are compromising your hormones, which is causing these problems, and you start consuming CMOS and iron and eating alkaline foods like quinoa and fonio and mangoes and soursop and chickpeas and wild rice, when you start changing your lifestyle, you start to see, like the hairs is going, my breathing's getting better, my skin's clearing up. I'm walking for much longer distances. This is what will start to happen to you. Why? Because you have decided to now fully love yourself and embrace Mother Nature and pay that tax. Fasting is a payment to nature saying, I'm sorry, Mother Nature, for all the things I've been doing to myself. I'm ready to surrender. And then you surrender and then you get your life back. It's as simple as that. But it sounds easy, but it is hard. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, it's an easy road and it's hard. But nothing worth having is easy to acquire. We know that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
So the last question, Ekong, do you recommend organic food?
Okay. Let me just say this, yeah, because I like to answer questions in different ways. And I like to answer it in a way where everyone can understand what I'm saying. If you went to Sainsbury's right now, you know, you want to start right now. Sainsbury's is right there. You know, you've got this fire from Ekong. Yeah, I want to do it. I'm on it. You go Sainsbury's to see what is in there that is alkaline. And if you go Sainsbury's, you'll find raspberries, alkaline, blackberries, alkaline. You'll find cherry tomatoes, alkaline. You might find agave, good. Grapeseed oil, good. Avocado oil is good. You might even find wild arugula, dandelion greens. That's good. Now, some people say to me, but how do you know whether these things are organic or inorganic? You know? Guess what? We don't know. That is the truth. That's the reality. And a lot of people, you know, I say 79% of the world want to escape reality every day as much as they can. But reality is where you find truth blossoming. So reality is we don't know. However, because I know for a fact that in my hometown, Africa, where I'm from, the motherland, I know that blackberries grows there naturally. I know that raspberries grow in Brazil naturally. I know that these things I just mentioned that are in Sainsbury's, funnily enough, I know that these things are natural. You can find them in the natural world. So then I will go and buy that instead of buying something that is not only do I know was grown organically or not, it is hybrid or it is a GMO, meaning someone made that. If someone said to me, would you prefer to eat a shark or tofu? I say, just give me a tiny piece of the shark, please. Just a tiny piece. Why would I say that? Because I know that the Most High made a shark, but the Most High never made tofu. So I'm just using reality, using common sense. I'm going with the lesser evil. I know that a shark was made by Mother Nature. It's a fish. It was here before me. But tofu was recently added to creation, 1800s. So brothers and sisters, we have to start understanding that if you didn't grow the food, don't kid yourself. Just understand that you don't know. You don't know. I don't know either. But I do know that it grows naturally. So I'm going to eat it. Otherwise, if we don't move like that, are we going to eat anything? No, we won't.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brother Ekong, for that fantastic presentation. Thank you. Everyone, do give
You're welcome. Thank
a round of applause. Some great questions as well.
Before we move over, where
can you hear me? I was going to say,
Auntie Jean is saying something.
Auntie Jean.
Absolutely wonderful. You have grown so much since Peckham days when I had the Auntie Jean market in Kent.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
You wasn't quite shy, and you used to stand up at the front, and then you asked if you can start bringing some food, and you have grown. So I'm really, really proud of you. Look at the face. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Right, Brother Ekong, what he's doing.
Question. Can I ask a question, Ekong? What's happened to the radio program that you used to do on Galaxy?
Oh, I'm not too sure what's happening with Galaxy Radio. I think Auntie G may know a bit more than me on that, but I'm no longer on the radio station anymore. I believe that they're online now, if I'm not mistaken.
Listen to you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting me. It was a very long time ago.
Yes, I know.
Very long time ago.
Nice to see how you've progressed, as Jean says.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to.
Yeah.
It's good to. And
Thank you everyone.
your products has grown as well, and Stella B was always saying how great and wonderful your products are. And yes, you need to come out there more, and you must come back and do another presentation.
I definitely will.
Do the Garvey Village does presentations on Fridays, and
Okay.
you would fit the bill. So I need to speak to you about that. Do another presentation for the Garvey Village.
Yes, 100%. I will.
Yeah.
And check out the comments. You're getting a lot of compliments.
Okay. Thank you everybody.
It reminds everyone that Ekong's going to be doing another presentation. Great, you'll be joining us on the Garvey Village, but also you'll be doing another one on Got Kush TV. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Can you tell the people a bit about that? Well, I mean, you don't remember it off by top of the head.
Yeah, I'll say that for the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patsy asks, do you sell CMOS?
CMOS is currently out of stock right now, but we should be getting some more in next week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to tell you we are live on Facebook at the moment, and somebody's asked if they'd like to have a list of the foods again. That's it. May I again have a list of the foods which one must not consume?
Okay.
Just very quickly, would you be able to put that in the chat? Would that be possible?
Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
In the chat, then I can probably try and relay it out somehow.
Okay then. All right then.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
And then just because we want to make sure we get Brother Mandingo and have the full length of time, but we've got a couple of videos we just want to share with you, everyone. And I just want to quickly shout out another event that's coming up on Tuesday, which is run by the amazing Leah Salmon. She's a health coach, and she's going to be doing Black Mothers and COVID-19, Tuesday the 16th of June, 8 p.m. GMT. If you're a Black mother with children in your care, join her for this 90-minute talk where she'll be sharing practical advice and information that you need to help protect the physical, mental, and emotional health of yourself and your family at this time. The talk comes with an accompaniment workbook, full recording, and a Q&A session at the end. So that's Leah Salmon. You'll be able to find more information of that on her website, which is the Natural Coach, Naturally You Coach, the naturallyyoucoach.com. So www.thenaturallyyoucoach.com. I'll write that as well in the chat so you can get that information. But that's coming up on Tuesday. Also, we do want to shout out to Got Kush TV for their coverage over the last couple of days on the protest since yesterday. Got Kush TV is the #1 platform for conscious television. So do support what they're doing, do check them out. Again, we'll put their information in the chat there. We might show you a little clip from one of their
being in the midst of it all.
Yeah, we'll get you some footage shown. Are you guys feeling good? Are you guys ready for some more enlightenment?
Yes.
100%.
Yes, I love that.
Okay, so Auntie Jean, how was Brother Mandingo?
Still having problems.
Oh wow. So sorry. Okay, so all right, we'll show some videos now then. Just while we wait for Brother Mandingo to get in. Okay, so this was what we wanted to share with you earlier. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
see the screen.
Okay. So hopefully you can also hear the volume. Let's
The phone has been ringing non-stop from my white friends, you know, checking in to say, you know, hey, Kat, how you doing? You know, I want to see that you're okay. At first it was great, you know, but then it's just a bit like, okay, you know, give me my space a bit.
It's the understanding, okay, that we are one human family, but what we feel is that it's now time to, which people are doing, is to hold racism to account, accept it on all levels. Because of the system, we can actually say the system has caused this. So if we accept that, then people do not have to feel so guilty for any feelings or thinking that they have within themselves. Because they can just understand that this is what has been conditioned, therefore they have to work on it.
When, you know, you hear something, you've heard someone say something racist, or, you know, you want to question something, call it out and say, you know, that's not right. And go on to say, you know, what the right thing is to do. And if you have questions, ask. This is a learning process.
The sort of sly comment or throwaway comment that you know is racist in a pub or in another sort of setting, then you hold that person to account and force them to be better, force each other to be better. Then we can see the actions of true allies come to fruition.
Come out to the protest, peaceful protesting. We've got, you know, a huge amount of people coming out in droves because of that horrific image of George Floyd. And they just really want to show they are impassioned by it. And it's beautiful to witness. But like Grenfell, as soon as we are moved along by the media, these things can now go back to the back shelves.
We hear the young white voices speaking out against, you know, how we are treating the environment and what changes need to be made. Their voices were heard. The fact that we have their voices now for the Black Lives Matter movement means that we will be listened to this time.
The Hyde Park gathering, when I lent my megaphone to John Boyega.
I realized the first time you were reminded that you were black. You remember, every black person in here remembered when another person reminded you that you were black.
There was a feeling of euphoria that the black and white youth of Britain, after being slagged off for being only interested in silly photographs on Instagram, was showing, but far from it. This is a very political generation, actually that is more politically sophisticated than that of the 1960s. And so that augurs well for the future of this movement and its longevity.
It goes beyond the black square that people have posted on their Instagram for Black Out Tuesday. It goes beyond for making that one-off donation to say, oh, I've done my bit. And it goes beyond to just checking up on your black friend that one time to see if they're all right. It goes on to saying, what am I generally going to do to make a change?
Don't deny anymore what people are saying to you. So when this whole kind of notion of the race card and all of this kind of stuff, that has all got to be packed away, because a whole group of people are saying to you they feel these things, meaning it is real.
Once people clock that within themselves, so I've prejudiced this person based on their African name. I need to rearrange that in my mind and actually give this person a chance. Not think, oh, this is a guilty thought, let me hide and run away from it.
And we need to also see police officers convicted of a death in custody when they are wrong, and we must advocate for that. And because at the moment, officers are allowed to act with impunity and nobody is ever made accountable. Sign the petitions.
No, I'm the state says solidarity.
There are so many resources that people can look to educate themselves, not just about the colonial legacy, but actually about what grassroots groups and communities want and need at this time. Forefront, just as one example, we've created resources on our website. We have articles, we have book recommendations, we have reports, we have videos, all of which people can access for free.
There's people creating easy ways to kind of swallow and understand these problems as well, like just short videos and stuff that you can teach your children with. Make sure you reach your children quite early and say, look, this is not the world we are going to create for the future. We're doing something else. We recognise everyone's contribution to society, and we are going to stand up with our Black brothers and sisters as human to human.
It appears that the British public is much more willing to come out to support racial justice in America than it is to come out to support racial justice on its doorstep. And so I think part of that education process is really understanding what has happened in the UK. There is the United Friends and Family campaign, there's Inquest, there's Forward Forever. These are dedicated groups around deaths in custody and in other detention settings also.
Make videos, go online. We don't know the answers yet, but educate yourselves, read about our history, find out why we say Black Lives Matter, because I think some people are still confused when we say that, because they think that when we say that, it is because we do not believe that white lives matter. Nobody didn't say that white lives don't matter. All we're saying is that Black lives matter too.
There are going to be a lot of uncomfortable situations, for myself included, and I'm ready to take that on. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, so that was sorry, stop the sound. Yeah, so that was from the Daily Telegraph. So we were invited to do a quick interview about what we felt about BLM, so that campaign that's been galvanizing people to take to the streets, and how people could potentially be allies of the movement. So yeah, as you know, the Daily Telegraph is a very racist newspaper, so the comments have been switched off, and there's far more dislikes than there is likes, even though we were being the most neutral ever that
we've been as mild as we
potentially could ever have been. So it's really like, it shows you really what we're really dealing with all of this, and why it's such a waste of time to be trying to plead for any changes, because all the classic signs that there's not going to be any change as a result of this is being shown. So some people would say that's cynical, but it's just looking at our history and observing reality. So that means we have to really just sort our lives out, our own selves out, and get our communities in powerful positions. So dealing with health, as Ekong was talking about,
the first step.
That's the very first step. Making sure we're well enough for the future that we want to recreate, and then economically as well. Let's think about empowering ourselves. So that's why we're even doubly glad to have you all here, because that's the mindset you all have. So yeah,
exactly. Auntie Jean, is Brother Mandingo?
They're still having problems. I don't know why. They've tried all different ways, re-registered and registered, and I know some people have had have had problems, and some people are still getting in. So it's still a possibility, and he's still trying. And believe it or not, he's been trying from well before 7 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we may have to invite him back another time if that's the case, and might have to finish a bit early. But I did want to shout out the United Friends and Families campaign. You saw Marcia Rigg in that clip that we just saw. Marcia Rigg, whose brother was killed by law enforcement, and she's been ever since she's been part of the struggle, really. And she's joined in with the Black Lives Matter campaign, but you can hear the pain in her voice as she was speaking. It's so sad, but you can support her and others like her who still haven't had their justice via the United Friends and Families campaign. That's I'm gonna put that in the chat alongside the other things that I promised you. I'll just do that now. But yeah, do try and support these charities. If you are giving to any kind of Black Lives Matter campaign, just realise you don't really know where that money is going. But
if you do it to a direct charity like the one I'm going to put there, then you know that it's going to a good cause. So that's what I'd advise for anyone who wants to try and help. So yeah, I'm going to put that in now. Nat, you've got something to share?
Well, yeah, you can put that in a second. I just want to share a Got Kush video of being live at the actual protests so that we can get the energy of what went on.
Go on. Somebody, I just got. I don't know where everyone comes from. Big up yourself, family. I don't know where it comes from, but love. The reinforcement is a thing. You know when you're watching TV and the police show up and then say back up, immediate back up. I'm not going to put right now. However, I have to say this because of what happened earlier today. We have had some attacks. For those who have just reached, there have been a number of attacks. They attack from that side. And a number of people ran to go confront them. While they were over there confronting them, they attack from this side. And a number of people ran over there, right, to go confront them. There'll be none of that. Then they attack from behind. There'll be none of that. And a number of people ran over there to confront them. How can we were running all over the place. We were not protected. Strategy. Our people were not defended. No, sorry. So we are here right now. And I'm suggesting, it's a suggestion. No, it's what we have to do. Listen, tell them. It's a suggestion. Hold on. Listen. Hold on. I'm going to suggest something. I want to know who agrees with me. If they come again, we don't move. If they come from the front, we face them at the front. Yes. If they come from behind, we face them from behind. Yes. But we don't move. We don't separate. We don't move. We hold our ground. We hold our ground. We hold our ground. We stay where we are. Shoulder to shoulder. Man to man. Woman to woman. Man to woman. Woman to man. We don't move. Now hold on, drop the music. I want to make sure we're protected. We've got all kinds of people here. A while ago it was said that we must put the woman in the center and the man will protect the woman there. But our sister said, no, there's no children here. The woman will stand right beside the man there. Yes. I'm good with either one, you know. I believe that as black men, we are supposed to protect our women. I believe that. But when our sisters stand beside us, we are protected as well. Come on. We give thanks. Yes. But all I want to make sure is that we're protected and that we don't lose sight of why we are here. There's a lot of propaganda right about now. People are asking, is the UK as racist as the USA? Tell them! Come on, we know this. About Cherry Gross, a black woman who was shot in the back by police officers and paralyzed for life. Tell them about Cynthia Barrett, a black woman in the 80s who they wrapped 13 meters of tape around her head and suffocated her to death. Tell them about Smiley Culture, the legend who they arrested and said he stabbed himself in the heart with a knife in his own kitchen. Tell them about Mark Duggan. Let them know about Mark Duggan. Can we make them know about Mark Duggan? Tell them about Sean Reed, who was killed outside Brixton Police Station. Tell them about Roger Sylvester, a British Army veteran who was killed. I have forgotten. Also, let me forget about Stephen Lawrence. Hold on. Also, let me forget about Stephen Lawrence. Let me tell you about Stephen. When I was 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, I was at every Stephen Lawrence march. I was at the Stephen Lawrence inquiry. Me can't forget about Stephen Lawrence. Exactly. Know yourself around here. Exactly. Me can't forget about Stephen Lawrence. Sean Rigg, Abraham Say, Cherry Gross, I mentioned already. The list don't stop. We have to know as African people living in the UK, war in the UK.
Exactly, understand.
Our history in the UK. And with that, kings and queens, I'm gonna raise a chant. I want to know who's brave enough to follow me in this chant. Because I don't hear these words no more. Yeah. Black power!
Wow. Wow, and with that is the energy that we need for this next segment. Finally, we've got Brother Mandingo here.
That was powerful. I watched some footage live, and I heard some of it, but it was in the distance. But it's good to hear it close up. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a moment, really, really powerful.
Did you have any thoughts, Auntie Jean, or anybody else?
Say it again.
Yeah, did you have any thoughts on that and on it in general?
No, I thought that it was powerful. I liked what he said, and especially about the men looking out for their black women and protecting them. And that I didn't hear all of it because, as I said, I was otherwise a little bit distracted. But more power to Shakara, and you know, anything that he says, I totally agree with. I totally
agree. 100%, 100%. And like I said, do support Got Kush TV. They're the ones bringing you that footage. Shakara is part of the team at Got Kush TV. He's one of the presenters, and he holds a space for quarantine convos every Tuesday and Thursday. And we do have Brother Kehinde. He's going to be on.
Kehinde Andrews.
Kehinde
you might see him on
Andrews will
TV
be on.
Sometimes battling Piers Morgan.
And he'll be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then on the Thursday we have Lord Jamar, another social commentator, rapper. He'll be talking on what's been the current events that's been happening also. So Got Kush TV are doing some fantastic things. We're hoping to one day be able to be housed by them because we can be looked after much better than Zoom. But yeah, exciting things. And you know, it's not about being excited about our pain, but I just love when we do things properly. And Got Kush TV is a big example of that, as is Eat to Live, Not to Die with our brother Ekong. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I know they've got the footage. They've done the footage of the march. Would you say with march when the gathering? You could say at Trafalgar Square. Where would we get to see it? Is there? Do we have to go to the website? Is it out yet, or have you just got to give us a sneak preview?
Yeah, there's they upload it on YouTube, so you can get it on the website and on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yeah. Got Kush TV.
Yeah. Okay.
TV. Got Kush TV.
I'll try and pop it in the chat.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Say that our brother Mandingo, I have to give him 100% marks for his tenacity to getting through, because I've been on the phone to him, you could say just after 6:30 up until now that he's actually got through. So my hat off, my wrap off to you, Brother Mandingo.
Yes, yes. Give thanks to my technical operator and myself, determined. Because nothing beats a failure but a trial.
Okay.
Tenacious. So, give thanks to Jay for all the tenacity combination.
Oh, give thanks. We had to get there in the end. Have you got a camera? Are we able to see you?
Yes, I think you can see me. Hold on.
Okay. Because I'm gonna hand you.
I think that would be on the video section, I believe.
Yes, at the bottom you see it says
to the left.
Yeah. What does it say? It says start video.
Yes. Start video, yes. So click on it.
Yes, please. And I'm going to hand you over to Natna and Stella so that they can introduce you.
Only once.
Thank you to you. Thank you to you, and Auntie Jean. Yep, and I'm handing over right over to Natna.
Oh, we passed
it's not
to each other.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So Mandingo, I think it's just
yes.
Yes, you're there live.
Greetings.
Yes, greetings. So
Ujambo. Brother, younger brother and younger sister. Younger king, younger queen, every time. And of course, also to Sister Jean.
Yes.
Queen.
Thanks. Give thanks.
Yes.
So in this time now, we're in a time that many of us could say we've seen coming for a long time, but we didn't know when. So it's still taken us by surprise, and it's a time of chaos, but also a rise of consciousness, and a lot of things are aligning together. So I think this is that. It was June 10th the other day. I think it's fitting that Auntie Jean has brought Brother Mandingo on for tonight's show, because what better now than to hear from a perspective, a Garvey perspective. So commemorating the right that Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey's 80th anniversary of passing over to their ancestors, I want to hand over the last presentation of this evening to the very powerful community champion amongst us, Brother Mandingo.
Give thanks, Asante Sana. Yes, all participants, African participants, today, of course, is the 3rd anniversary, 14th of June, of that Grenville massacre by fire. And Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2020, was the 80th anniversary of when the greatest Pan-Africanist leader ever, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, went and joined the other ancestors. At the time, he was living at 53 Talgart Road, which is between Hammersmith train station and West Kensington. And in fact, there is a plaque there. His office was at 2 Bowman Crescent, near to West Kensington tube station. You know, you come out of the tube station and it's the second on the left, 2 Bowman Crescent. That was where his office was. And in this time, Marcus Garvey, as always, is most relevant, always relevant for African people at home and abroad. Because Marcus Garvey gave us the Black Print solution for African people. And the summary of Marcus Garvey's Black Print solution, which we must implement, is that we must have self-reliance in all areas of life: economics, politics, sports, entertainment, whatever, religion, spirituality, every aspect of life. Because if we do not empower ourselves in every aspect, every area of life, then we will be at the mercy of our racist enemies. And as Marcus Garvey said, that one of the most powerful weapons in the hands of us as African people is the practice of race first, wherever we are in the world. And what race first means is that we must recognize as Africans that we have permanent interests, but we do not have permanent allies or friends, because we are our only saviors. We are in a time where the recent murder, cold-blooded murder of our brother George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in USA, was murdered. Was it the first racist murder? No. There have been many racist murders in the USA and the rest of the world where we as African people are concerned. We have the same situation here in Britain. And we know that in all of these cases, the police officers who are involved in the racist murders of our people, and some have been our sisters, some have been our brothers, that no police officer has been sent to prison for the murder of our people. We have in the case of the US of that 12-year-old little African boy who was shot dead and all he had was a toy gun. And what this is telling us, at least those who are not acquainted and who are not practitioners as Pan-Africanists, as Marcus Garvey said we should be, but it has woken up our people, a lot of our people, as to the reality of what is at stake where African people are concerned. What galvanized the global revolt, because our people are not rioters. We see the racist press and traitors referring to our people as rioters. What happened is that the very fact that we were able to see live and direct, pardon the pun, live and direct, our brother, a father of 2 daughters, that his life was literally squeezed out of him by this racist devil police, Derek Chauvin, who put his knee after he and his other 3 racist colleagues beat up our brother, George Floyd, who was not resisting because the visual evidence showed that he was not resisting. After beating him up, this racist devil, Derek Chauvin, put his knee on our brother's neck for almost 9 minutes, well over 8 minutes. And we could hear our brother saying that he can't breathe. And you could see how totally unconcerned this sadist was, along with his other 3 racist colleagues. And he never stopped squeezing our brother's neck with his knee until our brother died, murdered in cold blood. This sight, which was seen worldwide, is what got our people in a state of no more, no more, no more. Because what our people realize on a collective level, on a communal level, is that if we do not take a definitive stand, this thing is going to keep on going on and on. It was just in February that we had our 25-year-old brother, Arnold, who was murdered by a father and son. What was his so-called crime? He was jogging. And they followed him, saying that they thought that he was a burglar. The thing about it is that racism has never ended anywhere in the world where African people are concerned. And we have seen the protests. And what I'm saying is this. the only way, not one of the ways, the only way that we as Africans at home, meaning the mother continent, and abroad, the diaspora, that's wherever we are, Britain, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Ghana, wherever, that the only way that we will put a stop to the wanton racist murders of our people with impunity is that after all the protests, marches, and talk, because that is good. That's good. But it's not sufficient. Necessary, but not sufficient. Because the only thing that will put a stop is power. Marcus Garvey said, a race without authority and power is a race without respect. Marcus Garvey said in the Philosophy and Opinions that man, woman, is not moved by prayers or petitions, meaning petitions are a cute way of saying begging, but man or woman is moved by the force, the power that forces them to move, whether they want to or not. What this means is that we as Africans have to empower ourselves economically. Economically, because we have to be able to defend ourselves. And when I say defend, I'm talking about we have to acquire military power. You heard me? Military power. Because our enemies laugh at us when we merely march or say we are signing petitions. Because our racist enemies only respect force. They got what they got from us in Africa by force, by violence. If we had had equivalent military power, technological military power, Africa would not have been conquered and our people enslaved in the way that it was. They used their guns, their modern armaments, and of course, the swords and the spears and the bow and arrows were no match for, we have to tell it like it is, the scientific and technological superiority of the weapons that the Europeans used. This is why Marcus Garvey said in the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey that we must master science and technology, because the race or races that do not master science and technology will either be enslaved or will be exterminated by the race or races who master science and technology. As we speak, there is no African country in Africa or in the Caribbean that manufactures planes. There are no African countries in Africa and in the Caribbean who manufacture ships. There are really no African countries in Africa or the Caribbean And the Caribbean is little Africa, by the way. All the islands of the Caribbean belong to us. The blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors paid for those islands. Manufacture guns and other implements of warfare. You notice that in all cases, the armies, the air forces, etc., for our countries in Africa and in the Caribbean, it's a case where we have to buy our weapons from our own enemies. How ridiculous and suicidal this is. How can you defeat your enemy when you depend on your enemy for the very weapons to defend yourself? Communication system. The overwhelming majority of the communication system, and communication is key in war, as you are quite aware. The very communication systems that we use are owned and controlled by them. And the irony of it is that some of the most brilliant scientists and engineers in their military-industrial complex in the USA, in France, and wherever are our own, some of them are our own African scientists and engineers whose scientific and technological expertise and education is used to further empower our enemies' industries rather than creating and empowering our own industries. We have to put into practice, implement more than ever the Black Print solution of Marcus Garvey by having our own Navy, Air Force, and Army with a president on a continental base, African basis, to protect our African people at home and abroad. You never see Chinese individuals in the USA and in Britain, for example, and in France, being murdered wantonly, just to use an illustration, and with utter impunity. Why? Because the Europeans know that China has the nuclear power capabilities as themselves. It is ironic that China, under the leadership of Chairman Mao, implemented the self-reliance, the military self-reliance, the economic self-reliance that Marcus Garvey implored and told our African people to do. India have their own arms industry. They are even into space technology, etc. Nelson Mandela, one of the things that I have against Nelson Mandela and the rest of his ANC cronies, besides, in addition to selling out the land, saying that our land in South Africa also belongs to the Europeans and other non-Africans, which is a lie and which is opposed by the PAC, which is in line with Marcus Garvey's organization, is that when Nelson Mandela said he became the president of South Africa, Azania, in the 1990s, one of the first things that he did to show that he and his cronies were not seen about the interests of African people was to scrap and dismantle the nuclear power capability that the European settler colonists had in South Africa. And he did this at the command of his European masters because they did not want to have a situation whereby an African country would be in possession, an African government would be in possession of nuclear bombs. And so he disarmed and said he was doing it, Nelson Mandela, as a gesture of peace. A gesture of peace? Why didn't, and as I speak, why doesn't the USA get rid of their nuclear weapons? Why doesn't France get rid of their nuclear weapons? Why doesn't Britain get rid of their nuclear weapons? China is respected because they have nuclear weapons. Gaddafi, the Arab Muslim, who was in competition with the Europeans about who should rule and control Africa and Africans, was murdered because he was stupid to allow Tony Blair, the new Labour Prime Minister, to tell him to scrap his nuclear weapons program. Saddam Hussein, another Arab Muslim, in Iraq, was murdered just like Gaddafi, the Arab Muslim, was murdered because he was not in possession of nuclear bombs. Why do you think North Korea is standing strong as it is? It's because they have nuclear weapons. The moral of the story, the lesson of the story is, as Marcus Garvey said, if you do not have weapons to protect yourself from your enemies, they will do any and everything to you. And I'm telling you, my African people, any African, we don't have to talk about non-Africans because this is about us. Any African who tells you that we Africans must not acquire nuclear power and have our own independent armaments industry to make our own weapons is either a fool or a traitor. But the result is the same. Because to continue along that road is to guarantee our continued enslavement, oppression, and I dare say extermination by our non-African enemies. Africa, as Marcus Garvey said, who left us only physically 80 years ago, Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2020. Africa is the richest continent on planet Earth. It is the second largest continent. We have the most diamonds, gold, silver, copper, the very communication equipment that we use, the cell phone, would not be possible if it were not for coltan, which is found in the heart of Africa, in the Congo. This is why the Europeans have kept Congo in a state of constant warfare, because a united Congo with its resources being used for the upliftment and development of its people would be a beacon for other African countries in Africa and in the Caribbean. And this is an example that they do not want. So they foster division, arming different militia groups along different national lines, because we don't belong to tribes. Never ever say that our people belong to tribes. That's used in a racist way. You don't hear them saying the French tribe or the English tribe or the German tribe. They say nations. So we have the Ashanti nation, we have the Yoruba nation. So we are nations. But it's the constant situation of the divide and rule policies. Because anytime they see Africans coming together, they always work to recruit traitors to work within, to divide us, and also attack us from the outside. Because the war that we as African people have is always on two fronts. Bear this in mind. In a situation of war, war is conducted on two fronts. What are the two fronts, Mandingo? And each is important because they go hand in hand. None is more important than the other. They are the external enemies. So we know the Europeans and the Arabs who are in North Africa because of conquest, etc. And there are always the traitors, the internal enemies. We must never, ever tolerate traitors amongst our midst. This is very, very serious, because the role of the traitors is to work with our external enemies to take control and to maintain control of our people and our continent. Right now, the Chinese, who took Marcus Garvey's advice, are now in fierce rivalry to colonize Africa and also the Caribbean. That's their intention. They come saying that they are giving soft loans, credit at very reasonable rate, and so on. It's all trickery. They're coming and saying they're offering to build infrastructure, but when they do, they bring not just a few engineers or technicians, but they also bring laborers from China. What this means is that they are exporting their surplus population. The population of China is about 1.4 billion. The population of India is about 1.3 billion. The resources, the natural resources of India and China cannot maintain the viability of the populations in China and in India. So where will they get the resources? Not just copper, coltan and other things, but for food. Do you know, for those of you who do not know, that the Chinese in Angola and other places, and in Nigeria too, have thousands of acres of farms that they cultivate to produce food that they send to China to help to feed their population, whilst our people in Africa, which as Kwame Nkrumah said, in line with Marcus Garvey, the richest continent, has the lowest standard of living in the world for its people. Africa, being the continent which is richest agriculturally and mineral-wise, should have the highest standard of living than any other people outside of Africa. But foreign imperialism by the Europeans, and now the Chinese, and the Indians are there too, are using the resources of Africa for their own native population. And their intention is to send their surplus population to live in Africa. Marcus Garvey Jr., the son of Marcus Garvey, who was my physics teacher at Kingston Technical High School, 82 Hanover Street, and also my fellow Pan-Africanist brother, and he was a leader of our party, the African Nationalist Union in Jamaica in 1968 that we founded, said then, so many years ago, that we must prevent China and India from dumping their surplus population in Africa, because the Arabs already have done that, just like the Europeans. Most Arabs are not in Arabia, where they are from. Most Arabs are in North Africa. And if we do not protect our borders and get rid of puppet misleaders who are traitors, who have been bribed by these non-African racist imperialists to allow them to come into our countries, to steal our resources, and to establish settler colonies, we will be doomed. The time is now, my people, my African people. And let no one come to you and tell you any nonsense about, oh, let us have a multiracial paradise in Africa. As Marcus Garvey Jr. said in a speech in the 1980s, he said, for those non-Africans and those traitorous Africans who say that Africa must become some so-called multiracial paradise, let them go and have their multiracial paradise somewhere else, but not in our mother Africa. Do you see the Chinese allowing Africans to migrate to live in China? Look about the few Africans who were there the other day. You heard it all on the news, and you also saw how they were attacked, being blamed for coronavirus when coronavirus originated in Wuhan in China. Do you see the Indians, the Indian government allowing Africans to come to live in India? We know how Europe is. We know how Britain is. Those Africans who are actually born in Britain, they want them to be expelled. So you don't have to talk about those who were not born here. Those who were born here, some of them have been deluded. I hear some of them saying, oh, yes, I know I am African, but I was born here. I am British. When you hear the English racist saying that they don't want Africans here, and some of the Africans who are born here take offense and say, oh, we are British, they fail to recognize that what these racists are saying is that, and they know that some of our people are born here. It's not that they are dealing with. It's a matter of race. It's not where you're born. It's race. Because being born in Britain does not make you a European by race. You cannot change a race. As Brother Malcolm X said, you know, chickens, for example, born in an oven, you don't call them biscuits, so to speak, okay? Your race does not change. And we remember the Peter Tosh song, African, that no matter where you come from, once you have the features, the characteristics of an African, that is what you are. That's unchangeable. You can have several citizenships. I have a cousin who is a Jamaican citizen, a British citizen, and a USA citizen. 3 citizenships he has. But there's one thing that my cousin and other people like him cannot change. They cannot change their race. No matter how you bleach, have nose operations, I mean, Michael Jackson is a typical example and many others and so on, you cannot change your race. They recognize who you are by what you look like. Your appearance is what determines their relationship with you. So I am saying again, be very, very careful, my people. And as Marcus Garvey said, we must defend ourselves, because self-defense is no offense. The UNIA and the ACL is an African government. It has all the necessary ministries. The Black Cross nurses in the UNIA and the ACL that Marcus Garvey founded was our health ministry, because health is very important. We must not depend on our enemies for any so-called vaccine and any form of medicine. We must make our own medicine for our own people, because enemies will use medicine to exterminate us. That's one of the weapons that they use. So we must have our own nurses and our own doctors and our own pharmaceutical companies that deals with our African health. Earlier, and this is something that the Africa Culture Market by Sister Jean and others do, there's always a lot of stress on health. Health is very important, because a healthy people is a necessary prerequisite for a progressive people. People who are not in good health are easily exterminated and dealt with. So health is very, very important. Another thing, this is what is called a Zoom meeting. One of the things that we must also know is that it is not everything that we must say in public. This Zoom meeting is public. I know the enemies are looking and listening and watching and monitoring what we are doing here and what our brothers and sisters elsewhere are doing in the world. That is their job. Because what enemies do is that enemies are always on the lookout to know what's what. So when it comes on to certain matters must always be dealt with privately. There's a tendency by some of our people to talk and divulge plans. And this is totally wrong. I speak in general terms. When it comes on to specifics, when it comes on to strategies, stratagems, etc., these must be absolutely private matters. There are some things that are above board and some things that are private. This is how our enemies work. It is the nature of warfare. You never ever divulge and speak about your tactics and what you do. But what is important is that we must redouble our efforts. We must redouble our efforts to be economical. We must redouble our efforts to be economically powerful. And it means that we must establish our industries. And as Marcus Garvey said, we must spend our money amongst each other. You notice that Africans in Britain, for example, suffered and died. And Indians and other groups that are not European have benefited from the struggles and deaths of African people who have fought the racists in this country. But you notice with this ongoing protests and demonstrations, you hardly see any Indians and Chinese and so on coming out in any public show of support. They benefited by what our people did, but they are not coming out. There is a case whereby we see in the present regime, Boris Johnson, for example, the Chancellor of the Exchequer is Indian. The Home Secretary, Ugly Patel, is Indian. And you notice that the tone of their language and how they perform, they are not remotely interested in what is happening with African people, because we know of the racism that exists amongst a lot of Indians and other non-European people. So this is why this, not all of them, but a substantial amount, because we all know when we go to these shops and when we want to pay them, they don't want to touch them. They want the money. And when they are giving us the money, as we know, they drop the money in our hands. They want our money, but they are racist at the same time. We must have our own shops, our own businesses, and support each other. Take, for example, documentaries and films. We are taxpayers and so on. But when documentaries and films are made about us, for example, in Britain, do they give the jobs to the many, and I can tell you I know them, to the many qualified African film producers and documentary makers and camera crew, men and women? No, they don't. What we are having is a situation whereby they are making programs about us, about so-called Windrush and post-Windrush, etc. And these companies, check it out, are not owned and controlled by Africans. They are European-owned companies, whether from the USA or from here. And the programs are about us, you know. So it means that even in things about us, they always try to say that they are writing for us and they are dictating what our story is. And as Marcus Garvey said in the Philosophy and Opinions, only we Africans can write our story. No non-African can write our story for us, because the non-African, be they Indian, European, Chinese, will always write from their perspective to benefit themselves. And that's quite understandable. Why should they be writing stories about us to benefit us? This is something that only we can do. It is we who have suffered. It is we who have gone through the biggest Holocaust in history. They talk about Winston Churchill and others like that. And I hear some Indian guy was making excuses that, oh, Winston Churchill said some racist things, but that was long ago and you can forgive him. No. Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain, was just as racist against African people as Adolf Hitler. No difference. What was the war from 1939 to 1945 about? It was a war between European imperialist powers. Because what happened is that Winston Churchill did not want the Germans to come in on the British Empire. What was the British Empire? The British Empire committed the biggest mass murders in history. That's why it was the biggest empire in history. Ruling over about a fifth of the world's population and a fifth or a quarter of the world's landmass. How did they achieve that? Through violence. Why what is called Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the USA, for example, places like that, why do they have European populations? Because they went to those countries. Did they have visas? Did they have passports? Did the native people of these places and in Africa, did they say, oh, come and reside? No. They jumped on their ships and invaded people's country and murdered our people for our land. Our land.
My brother.
Yes, my sister.
Yes, good, thanks. I just want to alert you to the time. We have only
7 minutes.
7 minutes left now.
7 minutes, okay, no problem.
So in terms of Q&A and people to support you, we want to give a bit of time for them to be able to get all of that.
Okay, no problem. Well, let me just say one sentence then.
Okay.
My African people, Winston Churchill, Teddy Roosevelt, Adolf Hitler, Leopold, and their equivalents today are all racist against us as African people. We must not be concerned about what happens to any statues for these racist criminals, because they were part and parcel of the process of murdering our people. Winston Churchill in the elections in the 1950s, you know what was Winston Churchill's slogan? Keep Britain white. I leave you with that, because that certainly isn't right. Pardon the pun.
Mm-hmm.
Africa for the Africans. Those at home,
for the Africans
abroad. Yes, give thanks, Brother Mandingo. Thank you, thank you. And thank you again for your persistence. And thank you.
Persistence is the only way, my sister, because our fight is constant, day and night. There is no rest. You know why? Our enemies do not rest.
That's true.
Day and night, all over the world, they are constantly plotting to keep us in submission. And we have to overcome them by acquiring economic power, military power, but it all begins with, as Marcus Garvey said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And with confidence, we will win. Because if you do not have confidence, as Marcus Garvey said, you will be twice defeated in the race of life. But when you have confidence, you will have won the race before you have started. One creator, one aim, one destiny.
Ashe.
Ashe, oh.
Ashe.
Ashe, oh.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Round of applause, everyone. Let's have some show of our hands across the screen. Put your little emojis. Yeah, let's light it up there. Light it up. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
Brother Mandingo, thank you so much. And we're going to end right now due to time. Auntie Jean, did you want to last video or something? Last thing to share?
I haven't got a video lined up. I hadn't had a chance to do it because I was, as I said, trying to help Mandingo to get in. But I don't know if you've got something that you can actually show before we go. And well, I say thank you very much for Brother Ekong, and it's beautiful to see how he's actually progressed, you know. And thank you very much, Brother Mandingo. I'll tell you, it was a marathon for him trying to get in, and he got in. So thank you. And
thank you, my sister.
Welcome, welcome. Every time.
And my brothers and sisters together, Arambe, pulling together.
All right.
Arambe.
And there's a question or a statement in the chat asking if you can come back. So say out.
I'm ready like yesterday.
Hey, cool.
I'm ready. I'm ready because listen, I haven't even warmed up.
Hey.
I'm ready.
All right. Cool. Looking forward.
Ready. And you know that, Sister Jean. I'm ready, ready. Listen, I have been a Pan-Africanist from my school days in the 1960s. And there's no changing of me. Absolutely no changing.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. We wouldn't have you.
If anyone want to ask any questions, I can answer quickly. Whatever.
Okay. Is anybody out there quickly to answer any questions? Even though I think you did a very good job of covering what you were speaking about. I think it's quite quiet out there. So
that's fine. You know.
I'd like.
We're just ready to share.
Any contact details?
Contact me through Sister Jean.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And remember what I'm telling you, my people.
Me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people.
Remember what I'm telling you, my people. I'm serious. We fight overtly and covertly. Some things must be behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember that.
Ashe.
Only deal with certain generalities publicly, because our enemies are always viewing and so. And you see, we have traitors. We know that traitors are a part of life. So it's for us to be always monitoring and flushing out the traitors who are amongst us. Don't get hysterical about traitors. That's part of warfare. The thing is that always be monitoring, because Marcus Garvey had an intelligence unit within his organization, because every organization has agents, enemy agents. So we must always be on the lookout and to monitor and so on. Okay? And remember, some things must be privy just to ourselves, below the radar.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you, Brother
thank you,
Mandingo.
brother.
So yeah, that is it for us. I want to give thanks to Auntie Jean for providing this platform again and feeding.
Just quickly, Sister Dawn has put a reminder out for Chief Montana who does the drumming, because remember he's doing the drumming for the 6-week weekend period. So I don't know, should she announce it now or after?
Now.
Now? Okay. Sister Dawn, are you ready?
So we announce the drumming. Yes, every weekend for the next 6 weeks. And he explained what the aim was about to do with the drumming. He's on YouTube, and I will post the link for everybody. Is it okay?
Yes.
No, no.
No, can't do that.
It's more like a
Okay, so
link while we can watch what you've set up for us.
You need to go to lie down. Get up. No.
It's ancestral drumming. Yes, ancestral drumming. Chief Montana. I'll look for the site now and post it.
Come on, stand up, Lily.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
Go on your bed.
Thank you.
Now. Huh?
No, thank you, Stella.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Auntie
Auntie
Jean.
Jean. Thank you all for joining us. One love.
Peace.
Did not suffer and die to give me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people. Because whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man on the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God. Now, from this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested in brotherhood within his own race, because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must in some sense be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal, because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. For we believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God of Father, God of Son, God of Holy Ghost, the one God of all ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise the cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is a man. We represent a new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use, they have not the resources to develop nor the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing under fair circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Now Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa's walking around not only on our feet, but on our brains. You can enslave as was done for 300 years the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. You can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Dive down, black men, and dig. Reach up, black men and women, and pull all nature's knowledge to you. Turn ye around and make a conquest of everything north and south, east and west. And then when you have wrought well, you will have merited God's blessing. You will have become God's chosen people, and naturally you will become leaders of the world. And as you bow down to the white man today, so a lot of races bow down to you and call you a race of masters because of the superiority of your mind and your achievements. Because no race has the last word on culture and on civilization. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, battleships, aeroplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business. So give us credit for being able to use our minds. And with people becoming conscious of themselves, determined to use their minds, you do not know to what extent they can go. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. We love the white race, not for social fellowship, but for the common brotherhood of God intended we should live. What satisfaction can anyone get in being happy and see his brother wallowing in filth, dirt, and disease? How can you be happy living in luxury and your brother's living in disease? And then when you try to help the one out of the disease, the subtle culprit talks about disloyalty. Black men of Carthage, black men of Ethiopia, of Timbuktu, of Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God,
and princes shall come out of Egypt. Because classes, nations, races have been quite quiet for over 4 centuries. Who was merely born of abuse, insult, humiliation, whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job, has likewise lifted his bowed head and raised it up to God's skies and cried out, I am a man, and demand a man's chance and a man's treatment in this world. But I shall teach the black man to see beauty in his own kind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's not. Back in the days of slavery, race mixture, miscegenation had occurred because the African woman had no protection from the slave master. Therefore, there is no need today for black people to themselves freely continue a practice that smacks so much of slavery. Our critics say that the race problem will be solved through higher education, through better education, and black and white will come together. That day will never happen until Africa is redeemed. Because if those who like W.E.B. Du Bois believe that the race problem will be solved in America through higher education, they will walk between now and eternity and never see the problem solved. God made man Lord of his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world. And you have been so darned lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to apologize to anybody for being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. If black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. Yes, you heard of Johnny Walker Red and black. Well, he had his adversities, but he's still going strong. Well, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue, because my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years, if need be, to face our enemies to our posterity. When my enemies are satisfied, in life I shall come back, or in death even to serve you as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foes of
People are not asking the right questions. They're not asking the right questions because they kind of think they already know the answers.
Technology is being used that we
have power, then count on me to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a plague or a pestilence, or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. Will I not go to hell 1,000,000 times for you? If I die in Atlanta, my work will only just then begin. For I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to lead the millions up the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there is a storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars, having passed through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, You race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you had better die. Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it. We have prayed to God for vision and for leadership. And He has given us our universal vision. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to America. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to the West Indies, but a vision that said it must be a free and redeemed Africa. Christ the crucified, Christ the despised. We appeal to you for help, for succor, for leadership. When you endeavor to carry your burden up the heights of Calvary, when white men scorned you, when white men scorned you, when white men spat upon you, when white men pierced your side out of which blood and water gushed forth, it was a black man in the name of Simon the Syrian who took your cross and bore it up the heights of Calvary. And now that we are bearing our burden, it being so heavy, we just ask that you just help us on up the heights. Oh, yes, the cause is grand, the cause is glory. Surely we shall not turn back. Oh, sail on, sail on, sail on, oh mighty ship of state, sail on until the flag of the red, the black, and the green is perched upon the hills of Africa. Because the time has come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Crispus Attucks and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race. Toussaint Louverture's brilliancy as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people. Hence he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Because Africa's created millions and countless millions of black men and women in war and peace, whose luster and bravery outshone that of any other people. So why not see good and perfection in ourselves? We must inspire our literature and promulgate the doctrine of our own without any apologies to the powers that be. That right is ours and God. Let sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinion and are not obligated to or bound by the opinions of others. If others laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. Because they have no more right to dishonor, discredit you in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you. Disrespect and disregard them when they vilely treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of obscurity as we have. Their history is as rude in its primitiveness as ours. Their ancestors were running wild in living in trees of branches like monkeys as ours. They made human sacrifices, ate the flesh of their own dead and wild meat from beasts for centuries, even as they have accused us of doing. Their cannibalism is more prolonged than ours. When we were embracing the banks of the Nile, they were still drinking blood out of the skulls of their conquered dead. After our civilization had reached the noonday of progress, they were still living in holes with bats, rats, and other insects and animals. After we had already unfathomed the mystery of the stars and reduced the heavenly constellation to minute and regular calculus, there were still backwoodsmen living in ignorance and in blatant darkness. The world is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and sciences from Africa. Then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Their modern improvements to be reflected and resurrected by our generation and our posterity. Why should we be discouraged if somebody laughs at us?
Stop posting on social media if you want to grow your coaching business. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 secret myths that the guru...
Today, who's to tell what tomorrow will bring forth? Did they not laugh at Christ, Moses, Muhammad? Was there not a Carthage, Greece, and Rome? So we see and have changes every day. So pray, work, be steadfast, and be not dismayed. Because as the Jew is held together by his religion, the white race is by the assumption and the unwritten law of superiority, the Mongolian by the precious tie of blood. Likewise, the black man must unite in one grand racial hierarchy. Our union must know no clime, no nationality, but let us all hold together in every country, in every clime, making a racial empire upon which the sun shall never set. Let no voice but your own speak to you from the depths. Let no influence but your own rouse you in time of peace and time of war. Hear all, but attend only to that which concerns you. Your allegiance shall be to your God, your race, your country. Remember that the Jew in his political and economic origin is always first the Jew. The white man is first a white man under all circumstances, so you can do no less. Be black, buy black, think black, and all else will take care of itself. Let no one inoculate you with evil doctrines to suit his own convenience. Charity begins at home. So first to thyself be true, and thou canst not then be false to no man. Because God and nature first made us what we are. And out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let God and the sky be our limit and eternity our measurement. There is no height to which you cannot climb without the active intelligence of your own mind. Mind creates, and as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own mind. And today, being scientifically the weaker race, you shall treat others only as they treat you. But in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children. And make sure that we have a race of scientists par excellence. For in religion and science lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. Never forget your God. Remember that we live, work, and pray for a binding racial hierarchy, whose only natural, spiritual, and political limits shall be God and Africa at home and abroad. With God's dearest blessings, I leave you for a while. One love.
Brothers and sisters, Marcus, Mosiah, Garvey.
Okay. I must say, give thanks to everybody who's come, who's joined us this evening. I don't know where Stella B and that Naya are. They've got control of the actual screen share at the moment. So I'd like to say give thanks. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. We have Lyndon Wishart next week, along with
New York's history.
So we have Lyndon Wishart with Sister Nkechi next week Sunday, which is the 21st of June. So looking forward to seeing you all then. Thank you. Sis, thank you so much, Stella B, as always. And to Nat Nye as well. Thank you. Brother Mandingo, thank you. Dawn Taylor, thank you. Lyndon, I see you there. Thank you. Sister Shanice, I see you. Thank you. Ray. Okay. Good night, everyone. Donna Warren. All right. Give thanks. Peace. You do the countdown now. Okay. Good night.